Hi and welcome to the Financial Fox. Today a very special show because with me I've got two investors, two very different kind of investors. The famous Chris Oil, equity investor, and Stephen Kendal, crypto investors and well-known ambassador of Steem blockchain. How are you guys?
Very well.
Yeah, very well. Doing all right.
So Chris, you are really not new to blockchain. I understand that you have got an interest in some blockchain listed company.
Well, actually, hi, Steph. Yeah, I do. I mean, what is basically very interesting, I got interested in the crypto and blockchain, I think, as a contrarian investor rather than a momentum investor. So obviously I looked when the actual crypto market actually fell after, because basically my thoughts on the crypto market is a bit like the dot-com boom of the early 1999. It's basically there'll be about 3, 4 or 5 key players that will actually succeed and grow into multinationals or crypto coins, and basically the rest will just wither and die, and I think that's very interesting. But what's also very interesting for me personally as a share investor, I've just received today actually on Block Commodities an RNS progressing their African ventures on 50,000 farmers. So and what I'm interested in is hopefully we're seeing the bottoming of the crypto bear market in the next couple of months, and a gradual increase once again. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I mean, another company that's had more of a battering has been actually OBC, and I think that's actually going to turn because they've actually got a coin which has gone up, I think, 400%. So what we're really waiting for is the actual bottom, and normally a correction is normally something between 70 to sort of 80% to 90%, depending. But I think what's interesting about the crypto coins is, unlike normal shares, you know, it's Monday to Friday, but obviously with the coins it goes through the weekend, and obviously that means that the booms and the busts are much quicker. So we're probably we're bottoming out and probably getting out the other side, and hopefully according to the experts better than me in this field, they're thinking that it'll turn after the autumn, so gradually get better. So fingers crossed.
You are looking at the crypto and blockchain world, have an interest in a few companies listed on the London Stock Exchange, but not investing in coin directly.
Exactly, because that's the actual, with the shares, I believe, just like any investment, you're actually getting the leverage through shares on the sort of coins. Obviously it's just like the same in any asset portfolio really. So yes, I mean we're obviously, my personal view, being in the bear market, and hopefully now we're bottoming out, because there wasn't actually, if I recall, on the Bitcoin, I think it went down to something like 5,700 and it's climbed a little bit up.
Okay, let's see what Stephen think about bear market.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Steph, I really would much rather take a bigger view on it, yeah? If you go back to the 70s, the 1970s, when the internet first came about, the internet was basically designed as a distributed system. Now, over the last 40 years, what we've actually witnessed is a centralised system which has been sat on top of the internet. So when I say a centralised system, we're talking a monopoly on big corporations where they have full control of what information is being sent out. Now, when I say information, I'm talking everything: stocks, bonds, financial information, news. Anything that is shared is being shared from a centralised environment. blockchain technology actually allows, for the first time since the internet was invented, a fully distributed system. Now, when I say a distributed system, we're talking of a distributed ledger system that there is not one central authority. Now, what's going to happen over the next decade is there's going to be a migration from the old archaic centralised system sat onto the internet to a fully decentralised system, a fully distributed ledger system, which is effectively going to allow for the first time everything to be accountable. Now, when I've been looking at, obviously, at the stocks and shares and derivatives market, the stocks, shares, certificates, bonds, the financial system as we all know it is controlled via these pockets of monopoly enterprises where effectively these institutions have full control of everything. Now, what's going to happen over the next decade is there's going to be a migration towards a tokenised system. Now, a tokenised system will allow a distributed ledger system to effectively allow the internet to do what it was intended to back in the 1970s and early 80s. And bizarrely, Tim Berners, who was the architect for the internet, who created the World Wide Web, about 2 months ago publicly endorsed blockchain technology and actually said that the distributed ledger technology, the blockchain technology, was what he actually envisaged when he created the internet. So, of course, it's took effectively 40 years, really, for the internet to, go through this pain barrier of a centralised monopoly, and now we're into a completely different world, and this is going to change everything.
So you think that slowly the market will correct?
Well, when people say the market, really you have to understand that there's two elements. You've got blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and the cryptocurrency is actually a byproduct of the blockchain. Now, the cryptocurrency market at the moment stands at about 0.2 of a trillion, about 200 billion. Recently we saw it explode up to 800 billion. But what actually is going to happen over the next decade, the whole global financial system is going to migrate onto the blockchain, because once Pandora's box has been opened, as we all know, it's not going to go back, because what you would eventually have is you'll have two systems. You'll have the old archaic, centralised, corrupt, if you want to call it, but certainly a centralised system versus a decentralised system. And this decentralised system will win in the end. It will win. And when people talk about stocks and shares and bonds and derivatives, when this starts migrating onto the derivatives, onto the distributed ledger, then this is a game changer. This is a big game changer.
So I want you to come back to Chris now. Everybody knows you as an oil guru, so you probably have a few oil and gas stock that you would like to to mention. Which are your favorites at the moment?
Well, basically my favourite at the moment, or the most interesting politically wise, I think is more Marmite-ish, must be Horse Hill. And at the moment,
really?
Exactly, because you either love it or you hate it. And I think a lot of people know my sort of long-term views about the wheelbase, but actually as an investment in the sort of short term, it's very interesting on one actual company, and that actual company is Solo Oil, because what makes it interesting is it hasn't gone up with all the other players, and it's a leveraged position in it. And if you remember, in 2016 they already proved a flow of oil, so they're going to get a bigger pump, and it's going to be a bigger positive result. And I think if you break down the actual assets, which are in Africa, mainly also in Africa, where they have 500 trillion cubic feet of gas, you'll find that's a real stock to look at the moment. But as for my long-term view of oil, it still remains the same, which is people can guess what that is. But no, I mean, the other things I'm interested in is Chariot Oil at the moment, which is going to go drilling at the sort of end of the year in Namibia. It's going to drill one of the biggest wells this year, so it's quite an interesting
That's
thing.
Two very interesting stock. Now, Stephen, if you have, I mean, you are a well-known ambassador of Steemit, where people go, they blog about their interests, they also talk about investment and probably oil and gas. So what would you say to somebody like Chris that is not used to the crypto platform, but he wants to get into the crypto world? What would you say to him to kind of help him in this transition, and possibly Steemit could be the platform?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, they want to get into mining, they want to start mining cryptocurrency, and really what people most people don't realise, when you blog on Steemit, Steemit is the flagship application for the Steem blockchain. When you blog on Steemit and you get rewarded Steem coins, you're actually in theory, you're mining Steem. So when people vote on your work and you earn Steem, that is actually effectively the equivalent of mining Bitcoin or mining any other cryptocurrency.
So Chris can basically blog, talk about Solo, Chariot, and any other oil and gas company that is interested. He can find a community there, and they can upvote his content and basically get paid for that.
Yeah, absolutely. See, with Steemit and the Steem blockchain, it really allows people who want to get involved in cryptocurrency but don't want the hassle of spending thousands on mining equipment, where they can effectively just sit in front of the computer, start talking about what they are passionate about, start blogging, and effectively, in theory, start mining the Steem blockchain. And once you start getting yourself involved into the Steemit community, it then opens you up to understanding more about the cryptocurrency market. And really, a lot of people who come to Steemit learn a lot about the blockchain. They learn a lot.
And also from other people, I believe.
Yeah.
So here we are coming to the point about community, which is very important in the investment space. And I just wanted to pick up on the interview that we did the last time about Digibyte, because we basically find out with a big surprise that the Digibyte community is massive.
Yeah.
And Digibyte is definitely one of the cryptocurrency that should be on the radar of any investor, anyone that is into cryptocurrency.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Steph, you've got three elements of the blockchain cryptocurrency world. You've got the blockchain itself, which effectively is a distributed ledger that is either been proven or not been proven as an application or doesn't have an application. Now, on top of that, you then get the byproduct, which is the currency or the token, which effectively comes as a reward of the blockchain. The third element is the element that I just wanted to mention, and that is the community side of it. And what has blown me away over the last 8 to 12 weeks is the size of the Digibyte community. The size of the Digibyte community, I would probably say, is one of the biggest and most passionate. And when you start looking at why that is the case, the Digibyte blockchain has been around for over 4 years. So when you suddenly realise that it's a battle-proven blockchain, it's the fastest blockchain and is the most secure blockchain because it's got the 5 algorithms. It's the passion of the community that has completely blown me away. And just recently, I've realised that there's a small team of 9 guys and they call themselves the Digibyte Awareness Team. Phenomenal group of lads, a real phenomenal group of guys, 9 guys who are passionate around the world who are projecting and trying to get the awareness out. So when I came across the Digibyte community, they are a bunch of guys who really are doing what the whole blockchain cryptocurrency world it should be doing.
And even, you know, the project that they are doing in Venezuela where people actually get paid in crypto was not started by, you know, the founder of Digibyte, was started by somebody in the community. So that's really interesting. And I think any investor interested in cryptocurrency should look at Digibyte. Now, I want to let Chris to say something else, any other tips, any other, you know, any other investment ideas that you want to mention?
Well, there's one little interesting punt I've got at the moment, very, very short term, is OEX. They're waiting on a particular judgment, and if it goes right, it's a binary bet, it'll go up quite considerably, and if it goes wrong, if they don't get it, it won't do anything at all. But I think that's the highest risk reward I've ever done in the last 23 years. But I'm mainly interested also in uranium, because just like we've been talking about today, blockchain and all these different viewpoints, and also the Bitcoin, we all think is going to go considerably up in the next couple of years. Uranium is going to go considerably up in the next couple of years. Uranium is going to go from where it is at the moment. It's just broken a psychological level of $27, and it's going to go back in the next 3 years to about 148. Because originally, when I think I came on your program last, I thought it would take a little bit longer, but it just shows these new funds that have come in are buying up all the supply. And although the actual inflection zone is 2020, that's going to be a very interesting, another asset that's looking very interesting.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris, and I'm sure that you can explore maybe on Steemit, you know, what he said about uranium.
It looks very interesting,
and, you know, try to get used to crypto and blockchain, because all is about community and about people sharing their views and about learning and about education, which is is a challenge, but it is the most important element in this transition that is currently happening. So thank you very much, Chris and Stephen.
Thank you.
And see you next time.